Hi, I'm Yvonne and I'm the VAT Compliance Manager at Lewis Brown Lee. Today I'll be discussing making tax digital for VAT and the next steps and requirements brought in by HMRC. I'm joined today by my colleague Andy, who is one of our cloud accounting specialists. Andy will be discussing cloud accounting as one of the most practical solutions, not just for MTD, but for business record keeping overall. So a bit of background to making tax digital. So Making Tax Digital, or MTD for short, was brought in back in April 2019 for VAT-registered businesses with a turnover above the VAT registration threshold, which is currently 85,000. Making Tax Digital requires all businesses to keep digital records and file VAT returns using compatible software. I think when it first came in, there was a big focus on the filing requirements of MTD, and the digital link requirements was pushed to the background as HMRC weren't going to enforce this until April 2020. This was then pushed further back to April 2021 due to COVID. HMRC are bringing this in because they believe it will result in fewer errors and should remove the need for manual intervention in record keeping. So what is the next phase? For periods starting on or after the 1st of April 2021, businesses trading at or above the VAT registration threshold will now also be required to have digital links in all their record keeping. This means there'll be no cutting, copying, pasting of data from one application to another. All the data held within a VAT return must be digitally linked together. For periods starting 1st of April 2022, all VAT registered businesses trading below the VAT registration threshold will also need to fully comply with Making Tax Digital. So what is a digital link? HMRC have defined a digital link as the data transfer or exchange within and between software programs, applications or products that make up functional compatible software, and these must be digital where the information continues to form part of the digital records. So this means that every piece of software must be digitally linked together to all other pieces of software used in record keeping to create this digital journey. So there needs to be a clear audit trail from all the data recorded in the accounting system all the way through to the submission of a VAT return to HMRC. And this audit trail has to be digitally linked together. This does not mean that all records for a business need to be kept in one programme. They can be kept in a range of digital programmes, but the programmes need to have a digital link to form these digital records. So the records that must be kept digitally are shown on the screen just now and include things such as your business name, your principal place of business, VAT registration number. For sales, they need to show the time of supply, the value of the supply, and the rate of the VAT charged. Purchases need to show the time of supply, the value of the supply, and the amount of input tax that you're going to claim. So the recording of the sales itself usually would be recorded on an invoice-to-invoice basis, but this may not always be practical for businesses. So for example, a shop may have a till that can't be digitally linked to a piece of accounting software, or the volume of transactions may make it impractical to keep a record of every individual sale. If this is the case, then you must keep a record of the daily take-ins. You could keep this record in the form of spreadsheets that are then imported into an accounting software, or it could be used to feed into an API. If you then need to provide this information to an agent, for example, Lewis Brown Lee, to complete your VAT return, HMRC has stated that emailing or transferring the data on a portable device is allowed as a digital link. This may be a really time-consuming way of keeping your records. There are apps that can help link tills into accounting software directly to cut out these spreadsheets, and Andy will talk more about the benefits of this further on. So one of the most simple ways to meet these requirements is keeping all of your records in a single software system that enables the submission of these Making Tax Digital returns directly to HMRC. So these are systems such as Xero or QuickBooks Online. All the sales and purchase transactions will be recorded in this software, and as long as the information that's been input has the correct VAT codes, the system will be able to compile a VAT return with no or very few manual adjustments. There will be some allowances for manual adjustments for things such as partial exemption, which normally can't be carried out on software. There's a common misconception that that means that there'll be no more keeping of records on spreadsheets, but that's not the case. Spreadsheets can still be kept as long as the spreadsheet contains formulas or macros to add up and link cells. So you could keep one spreadsheet for sales and one for purchases. You can then set these spreadsheets up with formulas to feed into the VAT return boxes. You will then be able to connect the spreadsheet to an API or bridging software to submit the VAT return to HMRC. Again, this might not be the most cost-effective and time-effective way of keeping your records, but it can be done. Some businesses may have more than one piece of software they use for record keeping, or they could be part of a VAT group where all members of the group keep their own records. If you can export the VAT information from one piece of software and import it into another to produce the full digital records, that is acceptable. If you can't do this, then you may possibly need to consolidate the information into a spreadsheet using links to separate spreadsheets and then submit the return via an API or bridging software. So what's next for Making Tax Digital? So as I said, from April 2022, all VAT-registered businesses will need to follow these rules. From April 2023, self-employed businesses and landlords with an annual business or property income above 10,000 will also need to follow these rules. And from April 2024, companies will start to use Making Tax Digital for corporation tax under a pilot scheme, with all companies expected to join this from April 2026. So Making Tax Digital itself may appear daunting at first, but there is lots of software available that can make it relatively painless. You may also find that updated software can help save time and costs for your record keeping overall. Andy is now going to talk about the benefits of cloud accounting, as well as being compliant with MTD. There's lots of other things that it will be helpful with. So Andy?
Okay, thank you for that, Yvonne. Very intuitive and interesting. So I'm going to cover cloud accounting. Thought I'd start off with a quick history of double entry bookkeeping. So it's been used for many years now, centuries in fact. It's an Italian, Luca Pacioli, known as the father of accounting. He published a book in 1494 detailing the concepts of double entry bookkeeping, and those concepts are still in use to this day. It's always been, for the first few hundred years, paper-based. And then in the last few decades, businesses have used computers, desktop computers, to record their accounting transactions. Sage and QuickBooks being the most popular for small businesses in the early 2000s. Then along came the internet and changed things quite dramatically. Obviously, early days the internet was slow and sluggish, but then about the mid-2000s, a company called Xero set up a bookkeeping package that was just purely internet-based. So it's moved from the desktop into the cloud. The biggest players in that arena now are QuickBooks Online, Xero, and Sage, though plenty of others are out there as well. So this cloud accounting, really, it just means that it's not, the software isn't running on your desktop anymore. It's running on a computer somewhere that's connected via the internet. Big server that you don't have to maintain or look after. Somebody else does that all for you. Benefits of cloud accounting. Well, obviously remote access. The data's not stuck on your PC or on your desk anywhere. It's in the cloud. You can access it wherever you want, as long as you've got an internet connection. You've got access to real-time information. So you're not looking at historical data with bank feeds and the apps that Yvonne mentioned. You're literally up to date as of today. So you can look at today's numbers and know that they're the correct. You can say your bank has got this much in the account and you know that's the correct amount. You're not stuck to just having one piece of software and only one person can access it at a time. You can have multiple users on there. You can have your accountant on there. So the accountant can be in the UK, you can be in America. We're looking at the same screen, the same data at the same time. There's no copying the data and sending it to your accountant for changes, in which case you can't change anything while that's happening, waiting for the accountant to send their backup back to you. That's all gone. It's all history now. Advanced security, obviously. If the computer is in your office, it gets burnt down, the office, that is, you've lost your data. With the cloud, there's backups, it's stored not only on one server, but multiple servers across the world. So at the end of the day, as long as you've got the internet, you've got that peace of mind. And as Yvonne said, computing now, it saves time and money because it's quicker, it's more efficient to do on a computer than handwriting an old book. It speeds up processes that we can go into in a further step. And the main thing of today's talk is MTD compliant. The software is all, they're talking to the HMRC all the time and keeping their software to match the rules set by the government. So you keep the tax man at bay. Remote access, as I spoke earlier, you're no longer dependent on a fixed location. You can access your accounts anytime, any place, anywhere. You just need an internet connection. You've got your computer, your phone, your tablet, 24/7, 365. It's any time. I've personally been sat on a train reconciling somebody's bank accounts for them when I've been going up to London. So it's as long as you've got that connection to the internet, you're away. Real-time information, you're no longer waiting on historical reports or looking at historical reports that show what happened 3 weeks ago. They're out of date as soon as they're printed. If you look at the screen on Xero or QuickBooks, there's a dashboard. It shows you exactly what's happened today. Your sales, your invoices, your purchase invoices, your bank, it's all there. So you can make those business decisions based on today's data, not yesterday's or last week's data. Only thing is, you've got to keep your bookkeeping up to date. You do that, you've got meaningful information. It's the old adage, garbage in, garbage out. As long as it's sensible, the information on there, it'll give you sensible answers back. And your cash flow reporting, the main thing at the minute with COVID and such like, everybody wants to know how their cash flow is going. You can do that in real time. You're not stuck anymore with spreadsheets and having to spend ages working out all the numbers. The system using your Xero and QuickBooks data can do that for you within seconds. Multiple user access, as I said earlier, anybody can set up a system. They can say, okay, I want this person to have this access. So you can have somebody looking just at the sales invoices, somebody looking at the purchase invoices. Your accountant, business advisor can log in. They can look at your information in real time, help you with your business decisions. They can advise you where you're going. And if there's a problem coming up, it's not going to come and bite you on the bum later on saying, oh, if only I'd known about that earlier. We can look at the data now and say, yes, with forecasting that this will happen, that you might have a cash flow issue. We can advise you the best way to deal with it now, rather than when it actually occurs. Now, everything is these days is on the internet, and there's all the security questions and, oh, is it safe? Yes, it's very safe. It's password protected, and there's two-factor authentication, so that you have to give a secondary code, or you have to agree that it's you signing in to these account software before they'll let you in. So there's no way that anybody can hack them or break in. They're set up on very secure servers that are well encrypted. As I say, because it's on servers in the cloud, if the local machine crashes, it's not the end of the world. You just need another machine quickly onto the internet, your data's there, and they are backed up every day without fail. There's updates occur regularly without your knowing about it, so there's no worry that you're using out-of-date software. The companies will look after it and make sure that you're fully compliant and up to date. Automation, so we can get bank feeds in place for you so that the data from the bank comes straight into your software. It's not a two-way feed, so the data can't flow back into your bank. So there's no way that somebody can log in as you and strip your bank account of any money. So that's part of the security process. We can get sales invoice created on the go. So you see your customer and using your phone, your tablet, whatever, you can create a sales invoice, send it to them. And the software can tell you if they've opened and read the invoice. So there's no, oh, I didn't see it, it's in the post. They know they've got it, it's emailed, you know they've read it. And purchase invoices using software such as Dext and HubDoc or Auto Entry can be processed automatically. So you don't have to sit there typing in the details. They're just processed, they can be published straight into the software, and you know how much you owe your creditors at any time. So debtors and such like can be chased for their money. So you can automate the system saying, okay, on a certain day, I want an email sent out to remind people who haven't paid. The system will be set up to final reminders. It's all totally automatic. HMRC are interested in reporting more and more automatically. That's what MTD is about, really. They want to get the data there quickly and concisely without any errors. So the software can submit your payroll reports, your VAT returns, your tax returns for you. And it can process them so that you don't have to intervene. You don't have to think, oh, I've got to send that report off. It does it all for you if you want it to. And as I said earlier, it's all compliance. The companies work very closely with HMRC to make sure that everything is correct. And there's no, they have a deadline. HMRC is saying 2022 already. The companies will be working with the HMRC to get their software compliant and ready to go so that there's no hold up for their users. If you want to look into further use of cloud accounting, or you want to come and talk to us at Lewis Brownlee about Xero or QuickBooks, please feel free, give us a call, pop in for a chat. We'll be delighted to give you a demo of Xero or QuickBooks and how it can help your business. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Andy. So at Lewis Brownlee, we have club accounting specialists that can help you with this. We can also come and look at the current systems you have in place and tell you if they are compliant with Making Tax Digital or not. All of our contact details should now be on the screen. So any questions at all, please do get in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.